The stars looked different from the observation deck of Ceres Colony. Lily Collins pressed her small hand against the thick glass and gazed at the distant lights. Her twin brother Jake stood beside her, his eyes wide with wonder. "Do you think the aliens look scary?" Jake whispered. Lily shook her head. "Dad says they're just different, not scary." Their father, Ethan Collins, had been working non-stop since the Zarkel ships appeared near Jupiter 3 weeks ago. As one of Earth's leading xenobiologists, he was part of the first contact team. Their mother, Lisa, a retired Special Forces officer, had been more cautious about the visitors. "Don't wander off," she had warned them that morning. "Stay with your school group." The twins were part of a field trip to see the new alien delegation that had arrived at Ceres. Along with 21 other children, they were getting a rare chance to witness history. Their teacher, Ms. Bell, counted heads for the 5th time as they waited in the observation area. 12-year-old Sam Porter adjusted his glasses and took notes on his tablet. The Zarkel evolved in a high-gravity environment, he explained to anyone who would listen. That's why they're so short and wide. 15-year-old Olivia Martinez rolled her eyes. "We know, Sam. You've told us 10 times already." The children fell silent as the doors opened. 3 Zarkel entered the room, their blue-gray skin reflecting the overhead lights. They walked on 4 thick legs, and their upper bodies split into 2 torsos, each with a pair of arms. Their faces had no nose, just breathing slits and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle. Kralax, the head diplomat, stepped forward. He had spent years studying human languages and cultures before first contact. "Greetings, young humans," he said, his voice coming through a translator device around his neck. "We are honored to meet Earth's future." The children stared in fascination. Some waved shyly. Lily nudged Jake forward when Ms. Bell asked for volunteers to present the welcome gift they had made. Jake held out a colorful paper model of the solar system. "We made this for you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Kralax bent his upper body, and what he had learned was a respectful bow. "A remarkable gift. Thank you." The meeting continued pleasantly. The Zarkel answered questions about their home world and asked about Earth. Everything seemed perfect. No one noticed when 6 more Zarkel entered quietly through a side door. No one except Kralax, whose middle eye widened slightly in confusion. These were military guards, not diplomats. They should not be here. Before he could speak, the new arrivals activated devices on their arms. A strange humming filled the room, and Ms. Bell collapsed to the floor. The human security guards fell next without even drawing their weapons. "What are you doing?" Kralax demanded in his native language. "This was not authorized." "Direct orders from command," the lead guard responded. "The specimens are required." Kralax watched in horror as the children were quickly herded together. Some cried out in fear. Sam tried to run but was caught easily. Olivia stood protectively in front of the younger children, her face fierce despite her terror. "You cannot take them," Kralax said. "These are their young. Humans protect their young above all else." The guard dismissed his concern. "They are just one minor species. Their reaction is irrelevant." Within minutes, the children were gone, transported to a waiting ship. Kralax stood alone among the unconscious adults, a cold feeling spreading through his 4 hearts. He had studied human history extensively. He knew what happened to those who harmed human children. As alarms began to sound throughout the colony, Kralax whispered to himself, "You captured human children? This is a death sentence for us all." On Earth, Lisa Collins was teaching a self-defense class when her emergency communicator buzzed. When she answered and heard the news, her face became perfectly still. Those who knew her well would have recognized this as far more dangerous than any show of anger. She made one call to her husband. Ethan's voice broke as he confirmed the news. "They took our babies," he said. "They took all the children." Lisa's reply was simple. "Then we will take them back." The Zarkel had made a terrible mistake. They were about to learn why humanity had survived every disaster in its history. They were about to face parents coming for their children. The news spread across Earth like wildfire. 23 children taken from Ceres colony by the Zarkel. Within hours, the parents were gathered at Space Command headquarters in Houston. Lisa. Collins sat perfectly straight, her military training evident in her posture. Next to her, Ethan gripped her hand so tightly his knuckles were white. Around them, other parents wept or stared in shock. Karen Porter, Sam's mother, paced the room while making calls on her communicator. She worked for Global News Network and was already using her contacts to spread the word. "They need to understand what they've done," she said to no one in particular. Daniel Martinez, Olivia's father and a ship engineer, studied the star maps projected on the wall. His daughter was out there somewhere. He needed to find her. Admiral Paul Wright entered the room. The tall, gray-haired man had fought in the Mars conflict and was known for his direct approach. The room fell silent. "I won't waste your time with false comfort," he said. "The Zarkel have taken your children to their home system, approximately 14 light days from Earth. Their ambassador claims no knowledge of the action and says it was done by a military faction without approval. Do you believe that?" Lisa asked, her voice steady. Admiral Wright looked her in the eye. "No. But it doesn't matter what I believe. What matters is getting your children back." He pressed a button, and a hologram appeared showing a sleek black ship. "This is the USS Vigilant, our newest and fastest warship. It can reach Zarkel space in 11 days. "That's too long," Karen Porter said, her eyes red from crying. "Anything could happen to them in 11 days. We're working on something else too," Wright said. He nodded to a woman by the door. Dr. Gloria Ramirez stepped forward. She had worked with Ethan on xenobiology research. "We've been studying the Zarkel technology since they arrived. We believe we can use their own transport system against them. If we can access one of their teleportation gates, we could send in a small team immediately." Hope flickered across the faces in the room. Then the door burst open. A Zarkel entered, flanked by human guards. Parents jumped to their feet. Lisa moved with lightning speed, pulling a small knife from her boot before anyone could stop her. "Give me one reason not to cut you open," she said. The blade pressed against the alien's breathing slits. The guards raised their weapons, but Admiral Wright signaled them to stand down. The Zarkel's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. "My name is Kralax. I was there when they took your children. I have come to help." Lisa didn't move the knife. "Why would you help us?" "Because what my people did was wrong," Kralax said. "And because I know what humans do to protect their young. I would spare my species your full wrath if possible." Ethan stepped forward. "Lisa, he's the one I worked with. He might actually help." Slowly, Lisa lowered the knife. "If you're lying, no place in this galaxy will hide you." Kralax bowed all 4 of his arms. "I understand. I bring the location of your children and access codes to our transport network." Admiral Wright stepped between them. "Dr. Collins, we need your expertise on Zarkel biology. Mrs. Collins, your combat experience will be essential. We're forming a rescue team." "Operation Shepherd," he continued. "One team through their transport system as soon as possible. The Vigilant will follow with a full battle group." Daniel Martinez stood up. "I'm going too. I know their ship systems." Karen Porter wiped her eyes. "I can decode their communications. I'm coming." One by one, the parents with useful skills volunteered. Admiral Wright didn't argue. He had seen the look in their eyes before in the mirror years ago when his own daughter was in danger. "Very well," he said. "We leave in 6 hours." As the room emptied, Kralax approached Lisa and Ethan. "Your twins," he said quietly. "They gave me a gift. A paper model of your solar system." Lisa's facade cracked slightly. "They worked on that all week. They are brave like you," Kralax said. "But there is something you should know. The faction that took them, they did not just want human children, they specifically wanted yours." Ethan's face paled. "Why?" "Because," Kralax said, his voice dropping lower, "they know who your wife really is. They know what she did during the asteroid crisis. They believe studying your offspring will explain how humans became so formidable so quickly." Lisa's eyes hardened again. "Then they've made 2 mistakes. They took our children, and they made it personal. Aboard the Zarkel mothership, the children were kept in a large white room. The walls glowed softly, providing light without any visible source. There were no windows, but screens on one wall showed stars moving past. Olivia Martinez had counted all 23 children at least 10 times. No one was hurt, but many of the younger ones were crying. She sat with the Collins twins, trying to comfort them. "My mom will come for us," Lily said, her voice small but certain. "She's very good at finding people." Jake nodded in agreement. "And our dad knows about aliens. He'll tell everyone how to find us." Sam Porter had been examining the room since they arrived. "The door uses some kind of energy field," he said, pointing to the shimmering barrier at one end of the room. "I bet they can walk through it, but it would hurt us." Olivia stood up. "Everyone needs to eat something and then rest. We don't know how long we'll be here, but we need to keep our strength up." The Zarkel had provided food and water that looked strange but was safe to eat. Olivia made sure everyone had something, acting like a big sister to all of them. "We should make a plan," Sam said quietly when the younger children were settling down to sleep. "For when they come back?" Olivia nodded. "We need to learn as much as we can about this ship. Watch everything they do." Across the ship, Kralax stood before the High Command Council. 6 elder Zarkel sat on raised platforms, looking down at him with all their eyes focused on his face. "Your concern is noted." "Diplomat," said Elder Varrock, the head of the council, "but the specimens were needed for research. Humans advance too quickly. We must understand how they think." Kralax struggled to remain calm. "They are not specimens. They are children. Do you understand what humans will do when they learn we have taken their young?" Elder Telax made a dismissive gesture with her upper right arm. "They are one small species from one small planet. Their ships are primitive compared to ours." "You are making a terrible mistake," Kralax said. "I have studied their history. Let me show you." He activated a projection showing scenes from human wars, disasters, and struggles. "These beings have survived things that should have destroyed them. They fight harder when protecting their young than at any other time." The elders watched with mild interest, but remained unmoved. "This one event," Kralax continued, showing the asteroid crisis from 10 years ago. "A space rock large enough to destroy a continent was heading for their planet. A woman named Lisa Collins led the team that placed explosives in exactly the right spots to break it apart." "One human's actions," Elder Varrock said, unimpressed. "The mother of 2 of the children we took," Kralax countered. "And she was not the only parent with exceptional abilities. We have awakened something dangerous." Back on Earth, preparations were moving quickly. The advanced transport ship Hermes was being readied for the first team. Lisa Collins tested her combat suit, checking each weapon with practiced hands. Nearby, Ethan loaded specialized tranquilizers designed to work on Zarkel physiology. Karen Porter worked with a team of communication experts, creating devices that could intercept and decode Zarkel transmissions. Daniel Martinez studied the alien ship schematics that Kralax had provided. Admiral Wright entered the launch bay. "We've got a green light. The transport gate is ready." Lisa nodded, her face expressionless. Only those who knew her well could see the fire in her eyes. "One more thing," the Admiral said. "We've received a message from the Zarkel High Command. They say the children are just being studied and will be returned when research is complete. They warn us not to interfere." "Their mistake," Ethan said quietly. At that moment across the solar system, the USS Vigilant broke orbit around Jupiter. Captain Alan Brooks stood on the bridge, watching as his crew prepared for the fastest journey any human ship had ever made. "Set course for the Zarkel homeworld," he ordered. "Maximum speed." The massive engines flared to life, pushing the warship forward with incredible force. Behind it, 7 more ships fell into formation, their weapon systems already charging. On the Zarkel mothership, Lily Collins woke from a troubled sleep. She nudged her brother Jake and whispered, "I can feel it. Mom and Dad are coming." Jake squeezed her hand. "I know. The aliens should be very, very scared." The Hermes transport ship hummed with energy as the small rescue team made final preparations. Lisa Collins checked her gear one last time. 6 weapons were hidden throughout her combat suit, and small devices in her boots would help her move in the different gravity of the Zarkel ship. Ethan stood nearby, loading medical supplies and the special tranquilizers he had designed. His hands shook slightly, but his eyes were focused. "Are you ready for this?" Lisa asked him quietly. He nodded. "I've spent 3 years studying them, learning how they think. Now I'll use that knowledge to get our children back." Daniel Martinez and Karen Porter joined them, along with 3 Special Forces soldiers who had volunteered for the mission. Kralax entered last, his 4 legs moving quickly. "The transport gate is aligned," the alien said. "It will place us in a maintenance section of the mothership. We must move quickly once we arrive." Admiral Wright approached the team. "The Vigilant is already on its way with the fleet. If you can disable their defense systems from inside, our chances improve greatly." Lisa nodded. "We'll get it done." The team entered the transport chamber. A circle of light appeared around them, growing brighter until it was almost blinding. Then came a sensation of being pulled apart and put back together. When the light faded, they found themselves in a narrow corridor with pipes running along the walls. The air smelled strange, metallic and slightly sweet. "We are in the lower maintenance section," Kralax whispered. "The children are being kept 3 levels up. The nearest access point is this way." They moved quietly through the ship, avoiding Zarkel workers. Lisa led the way with Kralax just behind her giving directions. Years of special operations training guided her movements, allowing her to spot cameras and security devices before they could be detected. Meanwhile, in the children's holding area, Sam Porter had made an important discovery. He called Olivia and the Collins twins to the far corner of the room. "Look at this," he whispered, pointing to a small panel near the floor. "I think it controls the airflow. If we could open it, maybe we could reach other parts of the ship." Olivia frowned. "It's too small for me to fit through." Lily looked at her brother Jake. They were the smallest of the group. "We could do it," she said. Jake nodded. "Mom always says when you're stuck, find another way out." Sam used a spoon he had kept from their meal to try to open the panel. After several minutes of careful work, it came loose, revealing a narrow tunnel. "It's an air duct," he said excitedly. "Jake, you go first, then Lily. Just explore a little and come right back." The twins squeezed into the opening. The tunnel was tight but big enough for them to crawl through. They moved slowly, counting each turn they took so they could find their way back. On the bridge of the USS Vigilant, Captain Brooks received an urgent message. "Sir, we're detecting multiple ships approaching from the direction of the Zarkel homeworld." Brooks studied the tactical display. "They're trying to intercept us. How many?" 15 vessels, sir. All appear to be warships." The captain's face hardened. "They won't stop us. Prepare all weapons systems. Send word to the fleet to move into attack formation Alpha." Back on the mothership, Lisa's team reached a junction when an alarm suddenly sounded. Red lights flashed along the corridor. "We've been detected," Kralax said, his voice tense. "Security forces will be here soon." Lisa pulled out her sidearm. "How far to the children?" 2 more levels, Kralax answered. Karen grabbed Kralax's arm. "Can you access a communication terminal? I need to send a message to the Vigilant." The alien pointed to a door nearby. "In there, but we must hurry." As Karen and Daniel worked on establishing communications, Lisa turned to Ethan. "No matter what happens, we keep moving forward. Understood?" Ethan nodded, drawing his own weapon. "Nothing stops us from reaching our children." In the distance, they could hear the sound of Zarkel security forces approaching. Lisa checked her weapons one last time and prepared to fight her way through an alien ship. For the first time since the children were taken, she smiled slightly. This was what she had trained for all her life. Jake and Lily Collins crawled through the narrow air duct. The metal was cool under their hands and knees. They had been crawling for almost 10 minutes, taking careful note of each turn. "Listen," Lily whispered, stopping suddenly. "I hear voices." They moved forward slowly until they reached a vent. Through the slats, they could see a large room filled with Zarkel. Strange machines blinked and hummed. "This must be their control room," Jake said quietly. One of the aliens was speaking loudly, gesturing with all four arms. Human ships approach. 15 of our vessels move to intercept them. Another Zarkel touched a control panel. The creatures are persistent. They cannot hope to defeat our fleet. Jake grabbed his sister's hand. Mom and Dad are coming. With ships, Lily smiled. I told you they would. They watched for a few more minutes, trying to understand what the aliens were saying. Then they carefully backed away and continued exploring. On another part of the ship, Lisa Collins pressed her back against the wall as energy blasts hit just inches from her head. 3 Zarkel security officers had cornered the rescue team in a narrow corridor. We need to get past them, she said to Ethan. The children are just beyond that section. Ethan nodded. He pulled a small device from his pack and pressed a button. A high-pitched sound filled the air. The Zarkel immediately dropped their weapons and clutched at the breathing slits on their faces. What did you do? Lisa asked as they rushed forward. Created a sound at the exact frequency that irritates their breathing organs, Ethan explained. It won't last long. They ran past the disabled aliens. Krelax led them to a large door at the end of the corridor. The children should be in there, he said. But it requires a command code to open. Karen Porter stepped forward. I can bypass it. Give me 2 minutes. While she worked, Daniel kept watch. More guards will come soon, he warned. Lisa checked her weapons. Let them come. In space, the USS Vigilant shook as enemy weapons fire struck its shields. Captain Brooks gripped the arms of his command chair. Return fire, he ordered. Target their weapon systems. The human ships were outnumbered, but they fought with a ferocity that surprised the Zarkel. 3 alien vessels had already been disabled. Sir, called the communications officer. We're receiving a signal from the mothership. It's from the rescue team. Brooks leaned forward. Put it through. Karen's voice came through, broken by static. Captain, we're close to the children, but we need a distraction. Can you target these coordinates? A set of numbers appeared on the display. Those are the mothership's sensor arrays, the tactical officer said. If we hit them, they'll be blind for several minutes. Do it, Brooks ordered. All ships, focus fire on those coordinates. Back on the mothership, Jake and Lily had found their way to a small maintenance hatch. Jake pushed it open carefully and they slipped out into an empty corridor. Which way should we go? Lily asked. Jake pointed to a sign with Zarkel writing. I remember Dad showing me their language. I think this points to the main levels. They moved carefully, staying close to the walls. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Lights flickered and alarms blared. What was that? Lily gasped. Jake grinned. I bet that's Mom. In the control room, chaos erupted as the sensor arrays were hit. We are blind, shouted one of the officers. All external sensors are down. Elder Varrock entered the room, his 3 eyes blinking rapidly. What is happening? The humans, said a security chief. They fight in ways we did not anticipate, and there is more. We have intruders aboard the ship. Varrock's body stiffened. Find them, use all forces. Meanwhile, Karen had managed to open the door to the children's holding area. Lisa and Ethan rushed in first, weapons ready. The room was large and white and completely empty. They're gone, Ethan said, his voice breaking. Where are they? Krelax examined the room quickly. They have not been moved. See, their food is still here. They must have escaped on their own. Lisa touched the wall where a small panel had been removed. An air duct, she said with pride in her voice. Lily and Jake found a way out. She turned to the others, her eyes now filled with determination. Our children are somewhere on this ship, and so are we. Now the Zarkel have to deal with all of us. Sam Porter led the group of children through the dimly lit corridors of the alien ship. After Jake and Lily had not returned for over an hour, he and Olivia had convinced the others to follow through the air duct. Now they moved quietly, trying to find somewhere safe to hide. We need to find a communication room, Olivia whispered. If we can send a message to Earth, they'll know exactly where we are. The youngest children clung to each other's hands, eyes wide with fear and excitement. Sam counted heads frequently, making sure no one got left behind. This way, he said, pointing to a corridor that seemed less busy than the others. They had just turned the corner when they came face to face with 2 Zarkel workers. Everyone froze. The alien's three eyes widened in surprise. Before the Zarkel could react, Olivia stepped forward. "Help us," she said clearly, remembering the phrases Ethan Collins had taught during his visits to their school. "Humans in danger. Help." The two aliens looked at each other, their upper bodies swaying in what might have been confusion. Then one of them motioned for the children to follow and led them quickly down a side passage. Meanwhile, Jake and Lily had found their way to another part of the ship. They hid behind some large containers as a group of Zarkel soldiers rushed past. "Everything's crazy now," Jake whispered. "We need to find the others." Lily nodded. "But how? This ship is huge." Jake thought for a moment. "Dad said the Zarkel always build their ships the same way. The center should have the main transport area. If we can get there, maybe we can find a way to contact Mom and Dad." They continued moving, following signs they could partially understand from their father's lessons. After several tense minutes of hiding and running, they reached a large open area with platforms and control panels. "This must be it," Lily said. "Look at all the transport pads." Across the ship, Lisa and her team moved carefully through the corridors. The ship's alarms still blared and the sound of running feet echoed from nearby passages. "The children are smart," Lisa said to Ethan. "They'll look for a way to communicate or a way off this ship." Ethan nodded. "The main transport hub would be their best chance. It's at the center of the ship." Krelak stepped forward. "I can lead you there, but we must hurry. During the confusion, the elders may try to move your children to another ship." As they changed direction, Karen's communication device beeped. "I'm receiving a signal from Captain Brooks," she said. "The fleet has broken through the Zarkel defense line. They'll reach the mothership in 20 minutes. In the ship's control room, Elder Varrock faced a crisis. 3 of his screens showed damage reports, another showed the approaching human fleet, and a 5th displayed security alerts from within the ship. "How are these humans defeating our ships?" he demanded. "They should not have weapons that can penetrate our shields." The security chief answered nervously. "They are not fighting like any species we have encountered. Their ships move in unpredictable patterns. They target specific systems rather than trying to destroy our vessels completely. And the human intruders aboard? We cannot locate them. Our internal sensors were damaged in the attack." Vrock slammed 2 of his hands down on the control panel. "Find the human children. They are our priority now. We need them as leverage." In a quiet storage room, Sam, Olivia, and the other children huddled together. The 2 Zarkel workers who had helped them stood nearby, making strange gestures to each other. "Why are they helping us?" one of the younger children asked. Sam shook his head. "I don't know, but I'm glad they are." One of the aliens approached them and pointed to a small device in its hand. It showed a simple map of the ship with a blinking light. "I think it's trying to tell us something," Olivia said. "That blinking spot, could that be where our parents are?" The Zarkel made a nodding motion that it must have learned from humans. "They're here," Sam said, hope filling his voice. "Our parents came for us." At that moment, in the transport hub, Jake and Lily were trying to figure out how to use the alien controls when they heard a familiar voice call their names. "Mom?" Lily whispered, hardly daring to believe it. "Dad?" Jake turned toward the sound. Lisa and Ethan Collins stood at the entrance to the hub, weapons ready but lowered now as they spotted their children. "Lily! Jake!" Lisa called again, her voice breaking with emotion for the first time since the children were taken. The twins ran toward their parents, tears streaming down their faces. As the family embraced, the ship shook again from another direct hit. "Need to find the others," Ethan said, holding his children tightly. Lisa nodded, wiping tears from her eyes before they could fully form. "And then we're getting everyone off this ship." The USS Vigilant moved into position near the Zarkel mothership. Captain Brooks watched as his weapons officer targeted the larger vessel's engines. "We don't want to destroy it," he reminded his crew. "Our people are still on board." "Sir," called the communications officer, "we're receiving a message from inside the mothership. It's from Karen Porter." Karen's voice came through clearly. "Captain, we've found some of the children. Lisa and Ethan have their twins. We need extraction for about 30 people. Understood, Brooks replied. We're sending shuttles now. Get to the outer docking ring if you can. Inside the mothership, Lisa and Ethan hugged their twins once more before focusing on the mission again. We need to find the other children, Lisa said. Jake, Lily, did you see where they went? Jake shook his head. We got separated. Sam and Olivia were leading them. Ethan checked his tablet. Kralax gave me access to the ship's communication system. Let me try something. He pressed a series of buttons, and his voice echoed through parts of the ship. Attention all human children. This is Dr. Collins. If you can hear this, we're at the main transport hub. We're going home. In the storage room, Sam and Olivia looked up as Ethan's message came through a nearby speaker. The Zarkel workers made excited gestures. They want to help us get there, Olivia realized. They know where the transport hub is. Sam nodded. Let's go, everyone. Stay together. They followed the Zarkel through service corridors, avoiding the main passages where soldiers patrolled. The ship shook repeatedly as the human fleet continued their attack. In the control room, Elder Varrock received the worst news yet. The human children have been located, reported a security officer. They are heading toward the main transport hub, and they are being helped by our own workers. Impossible, Varrock shouted. Why would our people betray us? Kralax, who had slipped away from the human team, entered the control room. Because they understand what you do not, Elder. These humans came across vast distances, faced our entire fleet, and invaded our most powerful ship, all for their children. So what? Varrock demanded. Many species protect their young. Not like this, Kralax said. I studied Earth's history. Humans have a saying. The most dangerous creature is not the strongest or the fastest, but a mother protecting her child. We have made an enemy that will never stop. The ship rocked violently as another blast hit. We must surrender, Kralax urged. Return the children and beg forgiveness before it's too late. At the transport hub, Lisa and Ethan waited anxiously with their twins and the rescue team. Daniel Martinez paced back and forth, watching every entrance. If anything happens to Olivia, he began. Nothing will happen to her, Lisa assured him. We'll find all of them. Suddenly, shouts echoed from a corridor. Sam Porter ran into the hub, followed by Olivia and the rest of the children. Behind them came two Zarkel workers. Sam! Karen cried, rushing to embrace her son. Daniel swept Olivia into his arms. You're safe now. The children reunited with the adults as Kralax returned to the hub. I have spoken with the elders, he announced. They have agreed to surrender. Before anyone could respond, a squad of Zarkel soldiers burst into the hub, weapons raised. Elder Varrock followed them, his 3 eyes blazing with anger. There will be no surrender, Varrock declared. The specimens are too valuable. Lisa stepped forward, placing herself between the alien soldiers and the children. They are not specimens. They are our children, and you made a terrible mistake taking them. Varrock made a dismissive gesture. Your ships have been impressive, human, but you are here, trapped on our vessel. You have lost. Lisa smiled for the first time since the ordeal began. It was not a friendly smile. You still don't understand, do you? We wanted to be here. At that moment, alarms blared throughout the ship. A voice announced, Warning, self-destruct sequence initiated in engineering section. What have you done? Varrock demanded, his body trembling. While you were tracking us, Lisa explained calmly. My team planted devices throughout your ship. You have exactly 10 minutes to lower your weapons and escort us to the docking ring, or this entire vessel will be destroyed. The Zarkel soldiers looked at each other. One by one, they lowered their weapons. Kralax stepped forward. I warned you, Elder, never threaten human children. Varrock's body seemed to collapse in on itself as he realized his defeat. Take them to the docking ring, he ordered his troops. The specimens, the children may go. As they moved toward the exit, Lisa paused beside the defeated elder. Remember this day, she said quietly, and spread the word to every species you encounter. Humans protect their own. 1 month later, the Collins family sat together in their living room on Earth. Outside, the sun was setting over the mountains. Inside, Lily and Jake played a game while their parents watched from the couch. "They seem okay," Ethan said quietly to Lisa. "The counselors say they're handling it well." Lisa nodded. "They're strong, like their father." Ethan smiled and took her hand. "Like their mother, you mean?" The twins had been through a lot, but children are surprisingly resilient. They had nightmares sometimes, but each day got a little easier. Sam Porter and Olivia Martinez also visited often, the shared experience creating a bond between all the children who had been taken. The door chime rang. Ethan opened it to find Admiral Wright standing there in his formal uniform. "May I come in?" he asked. Lisa invited him to sit, offering him a drink, which he politely declined. "I wanted to update you personally," the Admiral said. "The peace treaty with the Zarkel was signed yesterday. They've agreed to our terms." Lily looked up from her game. "Will they take any more kids?" Admiral Wright shook his head firmly. "No, they won't. In fact, they've agreed to help protect human colonies. Your parents made sure of that." Jake grinned. "We knew you would beat them, Mom." Lisa ruffled his hair. "We had help. A lot of people worked together to bring you home, including some of the Zarkel themselves," Ethan added. "Not all of them agreed with what happened." The Admiral nodded. "Which brings me to the other reason for my visit. There's someone who would like to speak with you." He stepped outside briefly and returned with Kralax. The alien diplomat looked different now. He wore simple clothes instead of his formal robes, and a new translator device hung around his neck. "Greetings, Collins family," Kralax said, bowing all four of his arms. "I hope my presence does not disturb you." Surprisingly, the twins jumped up and ran to the alien. "Kralax," they shouted, not afraid at all. Lisa watched carefully but stayed seated. "Children, give our guests some space." Kralax bent down to their level. "I bring news. The elders who ordered your capture have been removed from power. My people are changing our ways." He turned to Lisa and Ethan. "I have been named the new ambassador to Earth. With your permission, I would like to learn more about human families. I believe my people have much to learn from yours." Ethan looked at Lisa, who gave a small nod. "We'd be willing to help," Ethan said. "But it will take time to rebuild trust." "Time is something my species has plenty of," Kralax replied. "We live for centuries, but in just a few weeks humans taught us something we never understood before." "What's that?" Jake asked. "The true meaning of family," Kralax said. "The lengths one will go to protect their own." After the visitors left, the family sat down to dinner together. The twins talked excitedly about school and friends, the normal conversations that had seemed impossible during their captivity. Later that night, after the children were asleep, Lisa stood by their bedroom door, watching them. "What are you thinking about?" Ethan asked, joining her. "About how far we went to get them back," she said. "I would have destroyed that entire ship, the entire Zarkel fleet if necessary." Ethan nodded. "I know. So would I." "That's what they didn't understand," Lisa continued. "It wasn't about military strength or technology. It was about what happens when you threaten someone's children." "Do you think they understand now?" Ethan asked. Lisa thought about Kralax and how he had helped them, about the Zarkel workers who had protected the children. "Some of them do," she said, "and they'll teach the others." She closed the bedroom door quietly. Across the galaxy, other species were learning an important lesson about humanity. Humans might seem small in the vastness of space, not the strongest or most advanced civilization, but they protected their own with a fierceness that no other species could match. As Kralax had said in his final report to his people, "If you value your civilization, remember this simple rule. Never threaten human children. It is a death sentence none can escape."